everyone. This is Albiona. I go by Albi, albicodes on socials. And one thing that I really wanted to ask you all, or like not even ask you, but I would assume that for the last 24 hours, each of you has opened X, has scrolled through some videos on X, or YouTube Shorts, Reels, or Instagram, or TikTok. All of these. I would also assume or predict that maybe 50% or more, we are all addicted to our feeds. And this talk is mainly about that and basically finding creative solutions so that we can convert all of the consumers, creators, and whoever is online and has a very expansive digital life to be more proactive and have a better relationship with our feeds. So, well, how many of you are actually addicted to short form video and love? Because I love short form video myself. So we are not being all honest. I see a very honest person here on the... Our phones are on our hands all the time. So I would say that, yes, we are all kind of addicted. And to start from there, maybe we can kind of overview why, or kind of get it back to the basics of why are we all addicted to short form media? Why are we all on our phones consistently consuming, reading, sending messages to our friends, and we even save those messages just to be like, hey, I'm sharing this because I need it for later, but we never go back because we don't have the time, because our never-ending feed is just there all the time. And that involves even the pauses that you do whenever you leave your phone on a short form video and then you go to another room and then you go back. That means all of your feed is basically designed again, based on that interaction that you have done, subconsciously, not by choice, just because you forgot your phone on a video. But you're not aware. You're not aware how many times that video was played. But the platforms know. The platform says, well, this person is addicted to making pasta with pesto, so we're going to play more food-related videos because they saw this video so much, maybe 15 times or something. And who are kind of participants on these platforms and what are we actually doing? We tend to go from one role to another, which means from a consumer to a creator, and the never-ending choice is just there all the time. We always tend to pick one role or another, no matter the results. But then the results, who's going to share the results? Maybe some number of likes, maybe some virality that happens here and there, maybe as an excuse for our work that we do, that, oh, we need to deploy something on Twitter, we need to post some kind of new update, because otherwise, how can we actually say that we did something productive for the past 3 months? So you tend to go back and forth between that. You kind of never, or me, I'm always talking from my perspective, actually think very hard on how to overcome all of these feeds and make it successful to the point that we go all viral and successful with all of our products that we are designing. It's a never-ending game. You do that every day, forever, because that's how it goes. You need to click on the numbers, and yeah. So basically, you give everything, all of your raw information to these platforms, but you never see what kind of raw information you're giving away. That pasta video that was given away for 15 times, if you would have known that, how would that make you feel and maybe make decisions after that step in a way? This is where the agency comes in. On our user interfaces that we have seen, that we see daily, usually it's it's a beautiful user experience. It makes sense. Everything flows, but then it's still extractive. All of your raw information is being taken and it's being used in ways that we have no clue. And then you have also consent prompts that we see every day in our apps or something. Those also don't really play a big role. It's just like sugar-coated information on how they are using our data all the time. And then we just click agree because we don't have the time to read that. And why would we read that? We need the app, right? So ideally, we move from the nice user experience to the consent pop-ups to a view that we can actually click on and off whenever we would want to use an app in a way that serves us and serves our goals, that are not that much affected by our feeds. So in this case, the agency would mean I would want to delegate access to my raw data that I have, let's say, all of my watch history of my browser to Brave, because it was mentioned earlier. But also, one day I can just revoke access. I can be like, well, for 5 days, I just want to browse and like search and be on those feeds without actually thinking that all of that would be just pulled into an AI or like into a centralized platform that would be used in the end for me to just go and click that checkout button whenever I would want to pay something. And then also audit what happened with my data, who is going to use that, and have a proof on that. Ideally, we would get a button that is leaned into the side of like, give me the control that I would want to have based off of my data on all of these apps that I'm using. Imagine TikTok feeds in a way that are a never-ending, consistent scroll. How would that look like if we would kind of get back all of the things that we are interacting on that social app? TEEs come in for the infrastructure side. Definitely, TEEs are the worst technology ever, as we have seen for the last few months, being researched by amazing researchers. But they are also everywhere. You see it from chip companies that are consistently improving their tech and hardware and software. Cloud virtual machines are also giving confidential compute like services, and definitely AI providers such as Anthropic, Google, or even OpenAI are continuously progressing in their research projects to bring in the privacy aspects of their current tools. This is one of our apps that we designed, and I forgot to give an introduction about myself, but I'm part of the Teleport team that is incubated by Flashbots X, and we are a studio that we build consumer apps. This is FeedLink, where we turn your watch history into this virtual pet that kind of has all of your habits. It's like if you keep watching things in, let's say, mathematics, it becomes a little smarter. But if it keeps watching brain rot, takes a lot of naps as well. In the dynamic island, I think we have it. We don't have it here. But there are different kind of states of the pet that would make you more aware of like your current state of your watch history, what's happening whenever you scroll for like 2 hours before sleeping. How does FeedLink kind of product is designed, and it's always we are iterating on that currently, is that you kind of go through from a science video to a funny video, and everything that is all being calculated in AI agentic way. This is where creativity comes in, where we would want to kind of see you all, okay, once we kind of have the user's watch history, how do we want to move their behavior forward? Like, what do we want to bring to their attention? And definitely you can play around with the goals here, but connecting to the first point that I made is making it more, making people more proactive toward their habits on socials, especially the ones that you can kind of scroll for hours. The last product that we just launched is called TikTok Wrapped, which is unofficial from TikTok. We did it ourselves, which I will share a QR code by the end that you can kind of get access. And if you have a US TikTok account, it will work. And we are working to make it available for non-US accounts. Basically, it's a Spotify Wrapped, but for TikTok. You get to see all of the data, such as your top 5 creators you have watched, your top sound that you have consistently stopped on videos, how many miles your thumb has run on the screen. This is very interesting because, do I have it here? Oh my God, no. No, I didn't have. Okay, well, we have miles for your thumb on how many distant screen you have done, which is so fun to see because it's just crazy. It's a crazy number. And we are not aware. I'm not aware of my thumb, how much it scrolls on my phone. If that would have been a treadmill, maybe it would be better, but whatever. We just launched it by the end of December last month. We are still running different campaigns and stuff to see how users are reacting to it. This is the top 5 creators. They can click on the profile of their favorite creators. And currently we have this many accounts that we have analyzed, around 2,000 who have delegated access to their TikTok accounts out of 30,000 accounts who have been stuck a little on our funnel. Some of them are non-US based, some of them are US based, but they are not getting to another screen where they would need to sign in with TikTok. And we are currently improving the process and the flow. In here, you can see basically some of the top shared interests or trends from all of these accounts. And as a target user, I know this audience is more on X and mainly men. We are targeting young women from 18-year-old to 22, 28 who are basically consistently on TikTok. And for now, our apps are also, we have also the X Twitter delegation functionality, but not for now combined to this. We're currently only targeting TikTok as a platform. And yeah, you can see it's 500,000 total watched hours from 2,000 accounts, which is wow, all of that time. Yeah, there is another app called Sync. So TikTok Wrapped, Feed Link, Sync, all of these are basically concepts that we have designed. We are focusing a lot on actual product. How can we serve the audience that is basically using TikTok all the time with one specific niche, which is digital intimacy. Basically, people are spending so much time online. Loneliness is a pandemic, not just for men now, it's for everyone. We tend to go to coffee shops with our laptops and not talk to each other at all. And to, I end up scrolling on TikTok just to feel a little warmth on my inside because I'm so alone. I'm talking for myself. So Sync basically targets that. How can 2 friends who have connected on Sync, it's a messaging app, whenever they are scrolling on TikTok, they would receive ideally a very good sync message where whatever they are syncing on their feeds to connect. So instead of me reaching out to my best friend, long distance best friend who lives in London, being oh, these are my life updates, she and I would get to receive a message that, oh, this is something that we have in common for now. We have watched the same movie or whatever. And then it would immediately give us the opportunity for us to continue the conversation on the chat. Definitely the product market fit, going to market with a messaging app, it's a little hard. Hence, the TikTok Wrapped was way more successful because the concept was already known from Spotify Wrapped and all of the other teams doing Wrapped based apps by the end of the year. So this is kind of on the side for now, not with a full focus, which would kind of be brought in when we would explore one-to-many relationships on our apps. For now, it's just, okay, TikTok Wrapped on your personal feed, whatever is happening, you and your habits. And then later on, we are kind of exploring the of 2 friends being connected on the app and seeing how can those kind of go. What else? This is kind of the sync shared interests simple diagram on their data. In this case, it's only watch history. We don't get any DMs. We don't get any comments, any likes. We only get their watch history. Even for yourself, if you're on TikTok, if you search watch history, you will see a feed of all of the things that you has been like shown in your feed. I feel like this is the same thing as before. And how is this all done? And why am I here talking at the open source event day, right? It's all open source. You can get to go and click on one of the links that I'll share later and get the ability to use the infrastructure that we have built for the sign in with TikTok feature, which is not coming out of TikTok. We have done it all ourselves. Basically, ideally, the revoke button, it's not yet there. It's in progress as a feature where users could just click on it and say, I don't want my watch history anymore to be used for these reports, the delegation layer. And then the watch history is being processed inside a TEE, and then we extract from it details that we are using on the wrapped results. All of those apps on the side are basically those minimal concepts that we are designing for the apps. And how do we actually enforce the agency? Personal data pod, delegation layer, and revocation switch. It's kind of the same for now. How is it running actually is there is a browser that is running on TEE in which out of it, we generate a QR code from which the user scans and then prompts them to go and open TikTok to sign in the TikTok. All of that is part of the TEE. And that hence then the browser gets like into their watch history, and then we kind of add the AI agent design of whatever app that we are building. Yeah, this is kind of the same thing, but it talks a little about this. And this is the repo. It's live today. We are using DStack, remote browser, as I mentioned. And basically, it's like pluggable apps because our goal is to basically iterate on the concept ideas and the use cases as much as possible until we actually click on an ecosystem of apps that can serve users and can give back agency to them so that they can kind of choose themselves. Even if I would give my hours away to TikTok and ChatGPT and any other app that is possible actually to delegate access to these, I can, in the end, like revoke access, but it serves me for as long as it serves me and nothing more. Defining agency experience. Yeah, I have this I want to work more on this where from user experience, I get it to a point where we can design for agency experience because it's so different now. Our user experience has been talking to AI chats all the time, or even screen sharing our full screen on whatever things we are reading, like this very interesting, dynamic, I would say conscious and, fake conscious as well with all of our screens. What does it mean to design for the agency experience is basically how can the user reflect on whatever patterns that they are. There is a saying that is like, okay, whatever you see, that's who you are. Or like even by the end of the year goals that usually girls do is like the mood boards. They want to have a specific version of their routine or whatever. It's the same. It's the same for all of us. We have different feeds because that is being basically built up based on all of our patterns, right? So how can we kind of get to that friction point where the user is automatically updated on their patterns of consumption and then is able to decide what they want to do, but by getting all of this data reflected to them in a way or another. So yeah, delegating things, access to different apps, and then having AI help on this reflection back, so that users can get to be having better decision metrics for their life. And apps shouldn't own people. People should own apps. This is the link of the GitHub repo for everyone who's interested to check on it and explore. Ideally, we would get to create this pod that runs inside a TE that basically has on and off access possibility to all of the social apps, all of the different apps that we use. And then we get served this wonderful land of like different apps that actually serves us for our goals. And yeah, if you want to try the TikTok Wrapped, this is the QR code for it. It basically gives you like 2 clicks to generate it. You would need to wait for a little time because it depends if you're a power user. If you scroll too much, you will need to wait for a little. And then if you're not US-based account, we are working on the solution for that. You would need to sign in for the waitlist. And I guess this is it. You can find me on albicodes on socials. Again, I'm an entrepreneur in residence at FlashBotX. And basically, these are the 3 top apps that we are currently working as a team with different test concepts that we are doing. And if you're interested to collaborate and you're interested to build consumer apps and also interested to use the backend infrastructure and everything else, there are some channels where we are active. It's the T Kettle, it's the DStack community as well, where our team is part of and consistently talks to everyone. So yeah, thank you.
This is really fascinating. I think a lot about how invisible communities share on shared consumption. And I wanted to ask you, how do you do the profiling for the content to determine, okay, this content is comedy or this content is mathematics? Does the AI watch the videos and kind of profile, or do you go off by other means?
That's a great question. Connected to the AI design when it comes to the TikTok Wrapped that we have done for the data that we have generated. I'm not into the weeds of that side, but I can like assume how is it done because I do myself content research for the traction part for the marketing side. So it's basically we have a data-based research like document in which we plug in then after to kind of help us to actually extract all of that. And there's a lot of resources from TikTok as well to help us extract from like general main niches that there are, and then that's how we prompt on the actual data. The actual data that we receive is basically a lot. We don't really have very strict data on how long did they watch the video or like how many times. I think the times is generated, yes, but like whenever they scroll, that thing is kind of being designed from our side in a way to kind of see all of the mathematical side. But like for clusters of information on like I'm gonna go back to that slide. There are already a lot of analysis that they have been done on actual TikTok data where people have downloaded a lot of them and then have reverse engineered all of the trends and clusters. That's how basically we have connected the pieces together, and also for content research that we have done that would target the group of users that we are targeting, the young woman with a specific age.
I just have a question about like the wrapper. So you have like one for TikTok, but is it like very scalable? Can you just like add, let's say, Instagram and more like very fast? And would it work like the same?
It's not very scalable. Like we are working on the infrastructure side because we have had 30,000 people who wanted to sign in, right? And some parts of it were basically like challenging. Instagram, no. Meta, Facebook, not at all. But we are exploring X. It's very hard or like not even possible on an Instagram perspective. X is possible. We have done one of the earlier projects that we have worked on is Deal with the Devil, where you would give access to your X account, and based on a bet that you would do with the AI agent, your profile picture would be changed or something like that. What other platform? Currently, we have a very interesting project called Hermes, which is this hive mind in between all of our clouds, and it just picks different points. Whenever we are like chatting with our cloud, it would just prompt us to give an overview of whatever we are into. And we can see all of our colleagues of like, okay, what's up on their cloud things. And I'm personally exploring access to the Apple Notes delegation, which is like, it can be done with MCPs and stuff. So, but like kind of seeing how can that be a source of data, and X is there. The Red Note is something that we are exploring, still not there yet, but yeah, those are the platforms.